Well, darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only.
Welcome to Dirty Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Cookie, and today we're going to get into the kitty ministry. Y'all know there is nothing I love more than black women, but a radical black woman. A radical black woman with a little organization under, a little political, little radical, little this, little that, little I'm every woman. So we got the homie Clarice here today.
Hey, thank you for having me, Cookie.
And we going to chat about some important things in the nether regions and just kind of figure out how she's navigating this space within this political climate as it pertains to her role in organizing. So what's going on now?
I mean, listen, it's hard out here for the people holding Uchi Wallies right now. I just want to let you know. I mean, it was already getting a little gangster. We live in Texas, so we've been dealing with the heartbeat bill, the 6 week Listen, it's a couple of different heartbeat bills and names, but we've been dealing with the 6 week bill for a while, so we knew that they were coming for our poom pooms a long time ago. Yeah. Specifically, 5 years ago, I started researching and studying all things womb wellness, holistic, herbal care.
Okay.
Because I saw the writing on the wall that
black women always be knowing.
That
we always be knowing.
Listen, that it was about to go down. And I will let you know, I had to leave the state to find my books and educational materials. Once I got in California on the West Coast, I started finding so many books that are Harvard published about contraceptions, herbal care, all, dating all the way back to the 1800s and whatnot that have been researched for centuries. Okay. But I could not find that information here in Texas. And I also made it a point to memorize that information because I'm sure at some point they're going to come and say, we need to take your books.
It's almost like we're going backwards.
We is. So
backwards.
That's
crazy.
And doing all of that, it was kind of like, I'm gonna just study a little bit. I'm gonna learn. I need to figure out how to take care of myself.
Okay.
Part of the journey. In 2016, I quit being a parole officer for the state of Texas because I've lived a life, y'all. Just so
talk about it.
Just so y'all know, I've lived all the lives. Okay, so I stopped being a parole officer in 2016. Started working with community gardens across the city of Dallas and North Texas to bring people who had been formerly incarcerated, allow them to have the opportunity to use their skills that they learned in prison to grow their own food and create their own businesses. Had a mentor around this time. I told her that I've been suffering with endometriosis since my very first cycle at 12 years old.
Oh.
12. My mama picked me. I will never forget the day my mom picked me up from school. Good Harry Stone Montessori. Shout out to my Bulldogs. And we were watching the video in history class, and I was mad because it was like one of them 2-part movies. So I was like, dang, I'm going to miss the first part. But I got sick as a dog. My mom picked me up, who was a middle school teacher at the time, and she just knew I was pregnant. So the whole way home, she's like, have you been having sex? Are you pregnant? I'm like, I'm bleeding. I don't know what any of this is about, what's happening. But because my endo was so bad, it caused me severe nausea, vomiting, and that went on from 12 to about 32, 33. I'm talking hospitalizations every other month.
Man.
Because once I start vomiting, it doesn't stop until I go to the hospital and I get IV nausea meds, like just the whole shebang. So medical bills out the wazoo. Everybody know when Clarice get her cycle, she gonna be down for the count for at least 2 or 3 days, not able to eat, just out of there, just bad business. And I learned how to function in this pain. So I'm going to school with this, like 12. This is my life. So when I started gardening full time, my mentor was like, you shouldn't be suffering like this. And I was like, well, I've gone to the doctors. I've done everything. I've had the surgeries. I've taken the birth control. I've taken the progesterone. Y'all, I was on meds for a year. To not have a cycle, which put me into a perimenopause state. I almost lost all my friendships because I was moody as hell, like constantly mood swinging. Hot flashes. We live in Texas in the middle of the summertime having hot flashes.
Man,
like
I would die. I'm already dying.
It was out of there. So my mentor was like, well, I want you to try something. There's some different herbs that you could be taking to help regulate your cycle. And I was like, okay, cool. Started taking black cohosh. Quickly learned that my liver and black cohosh don't get along, and that's one of those herbs that you can only take for a short period of time.
Right.
But it did something. Then she was like, you need to stop eating meat and dairy. And I was like, oh, sis, wait. I like brisket. I like bacon.
Bruh.
I love cheese. Give me all the cheeses.
It's Texas.
What you mean I can't have my briskets? She was like, all right, so just start 1 week before your cycle. Don't eat any meat. Don't eat any dairy. Promise you, 3 weeks later, like the next cycle, I ain't get nauseous. I didn't have any vomiting, nothing. So I was like, wait, there's something about this. So that's when I started studying and researching, and I found a group of herbs that love on me and work for my womb. Last year, I go to the OBGYN regularly. Probably the only doctor I go see because I want him to scan and tell me what's going on down here.
Right.
Let me know. I went to him last year on my fertility search, which is a whole nother topic. But he told me when he scanned, did my ultrasound, the inner uterine ultrasound, you know, where they stick the little wandy up.
Yeah.
You know, anybody that had a baby or some situations, y'all know about that wandy.
Yeah.
Okay. So he stuck the wand up there, and he was like, if I had not been treating you, I would never know that you had endometriosis. There is no signs of scar tissue on the inside or outside of my uterus now. And I'm talking, my endo was bad enough that it had grown through my lower intestinal wall, which was part of why my cycle was so painful, because when that tissue swells, it swells everywhere.
Got it.
So I had free-floating endometrial tissue, which it can end up on your kidneys, it can end up on your liver, like it can just go. So I had it all on my lower intestine, all on the outside of my ovaries, everywhere. So I'm just like a ball. But now, 3-4 years of consistency with herbs, I don't even have to take them every day. Like now I can take it once a week or start taking it right before my period. I'm fine. Nothing. Ain't been in the hospital in a good minute. Ain't had no issues. I went hiking. The last couple of times I've had my period and I've been out the country, I'm hiking on the first day.
Well, come on now.
So, you know.
Dang. So, obviously, the vagina is very important to you.
Very.
Our organs are super important.
I love
So,
my Uchi Wally.
at what point did you kind of go, you know what? All right, I need to expand this and be of servitude to my sisters?
Probably around the point when I realized I wasn't the only one suffering.
Okay.
Like, my family knew, and maybe like my close friends, they knew. But then when I started talking to other women, especially black women.
Okay.
Black women.
Okay.
Okay, listen. I'm not trying to shade no other ethnicities. I'm just saying when I talk to my black women or non-gender binary individuals who were born with uteruses about the pains that they experience, the people in our trans community and the pains that they experience every month with their cycle, their menstrual cycles, I realized, oh, it's not just me.
Right.
We out here like suffering
Suffering.
in ways that other demographics and other races just simply do not suffer. So I found out that black women are more likely to get fibroid tumors. They're more likely to not only get the fibroid tumors, but they're going to be larger in more numbers and happen more frequently than any other ethnic group. Then I started learning about black women who suffered from PCOS, black women who suffered from endometriosis. You know, we also have other factors that contribute to us being fluffy and voluptuous and all, you know, plush pals.
Right.
And how that plays into our hormonal balance. And so I started talking to like my little baby sisters and them about their, you know, cycles not coming for months at a time. Or once they did get their cycle, it was staying for 2 or 3 months at a time. Don't nobody got time to be bleeding for 3 months in a row.
Right.
So then I was like, all right. Kind of sort of started telling this person, well, you should do this. Telling this person over here, well, you should do this. Running into random folks in Sprouts.
Like, shout out to Sprouts.
You know, I love me some Sprouts. Listen,
I'm classy when I go in Sprouts.
It's a throwback. Listen, I've been loving on Sprouts for a good 10 years. I've been a Sproutser.
10 months.
But no, come on. You got to get over there. That's, you know, that's the antithesis to the evil empires. So I would have people stopping me in Sprouts when I would be getting my herbs and asking like, hey, what are you getting? Or do you know what I could do? And I was like, oh, yeah, well, sure, sis, we can do this. So finally, you know, this is now 6 years later from 2016. Okay. So 5 years because it happened in 2021. My friends and my family were like, so you see what's going on in the world. Can we get you to like start doing this for real? Shout out to my homegirl Tam, who is also an esthetician and a spiritual, you know, very in tune with the ancestors. And she was doing my facial one day.
You gotta have one of them in your corner.
She
you must
gathers me. I will be going to see her tomorrow, and I'm already like, Lord, ancestors, can y'all please just not shoulder tap her? Because it's something about when I get on her table, they get loud. And then she get to shoulder tapping me because they loud in her ear. And now we all got to have a come to Jesus because the ancestors is like, talk to her. So she was the one last year that was like, I need you to start helping people. She's a doula. And she was like, I have these clients who are experiencing this, this, and this. And so she started coming to me for treatment recommendations. And she was like, can you start doing consultations? And I was like, yeah, I guess.
That calling. Isn't that crazy how it comes together?
Just like, boom.
Boom.
So then that did it. And then the next thing I knew, I was in Ghana.
Look, she been out here in Ghana, like, back and forth, living the bestest of lives.
I will be going back soon because I don't like it here. The whole earth is ghetto, but if I have to be here, I want to be with my people. So then I went to Ghana, met a master herbalist there. Shout out to Mama Maddie, Auntie Matt, down at the Art Center. If you ever go to Accra, Ghana, gotta go check her out. She took me under her wing and was like, listen, if you come work with me every day, I will teach you what I know about traditional medicine. I will show you about the different herbs, the different trees, the different plants, the different vegetables, everything that you can use from the land.
Oh, man, come on now.
To start to heal yourself and heal other things. So I was like, all right, bet. I know that there are people dealing with fertility issues.
Right.
I know how to help women deal with like fibroids and PCOS and other things that come up. But she started teaching me like the deep. So then I was like, all right, Mama Maddie, show me how to whip this stuff up. She helped me whip up a big batch of herbs. And I was like, well, I guess I should be bringing this back to the U.S. Initially, it just started because my dad has congestive heart failure and kidney disease, and I wanted to get something to bring to him to help alleviate that. And then it spilled over into infertility for men and women, teas to help them, and then other products. And then my friends who I've been consulting with were like, but Clarice, you got a whole backyard. You grow all these herbs for yourself. Do you mind sharing?
Right.
And I was like, I guess so. So last November, Thanksgiving, my homegirl got on my case and was like, where's your website? You're launching for Black Friday. This was like a week before Black Friday.
Black women will push you into your destiny, won't they?
The accountability in my life.
Man.
Even just going to Ghana, I had a whole gang of Black women that was like, but Clarice, we've been telling you to do this. So can you? Like, I have too many Black women in my life who will push me, pull me, prod me whenever they feel the need. She was like, I need you. You got a week. You need your website. You need to put your products up. You need to do this. I don't care about you not having a logo. Go on Canva. I don't care about you not having this. You can wrap it in saran wrap. You better put it in a Ziploc bag and sell it. She didn't care. She was like, you just got to put it out there.
You just got to put it out there. Perfect it later.
Perfect it. She was like, you're going to have a version 2 anyway. She was like, in 3 months, you're going to be doing V2. So just put it out there. And I was like, so you just going to go ahead and tell me.
Just tell me what I'm about to do.
And gave me quarterly assignments and timelines and deadlines and goals.
Black women, bet on Black women, trust Black women. Let Black women lead you.
Every single time.
Every single time.
They serious, y'all. They be serious. They be on me.
But that's so crazy because I told y'all before I was supposed to go to Africa. I bought this trip to Ghana, then found out 2 weeks later I was having my daughter. Still ain't went back yet. My thing is you are radical. So you've been going to Africa. You out here with the herbalist, you and your natural herbalist bag, but then you've been on a political side. Woo. So the intersection of those two worlds, how does that work? Because I met Clarice when she was doing work with some of my organizing family in St. Louis.
Shout out to the Lou.
So that's how I learned about you. So I was like, okay, who's this girl that's suddenly coming to St. Louis and helping with this organizing with all these political campaigns? But so you in this world, but you seeing the fuckery. Yes. Then you're here in Dallas.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, remember I said I was in law enforcement. Before that, I was a case manager. So we will say my pre-life, before 2016, solid 10 years of case management. You name a mental health organization, a substance abuse organization, or entity, nonprofit, chances are I worked with them or for them in that 10 years, including substance abuse hospitals. Shout out to UBH in Denton and Methodist Medical Center out in Richardson, because your girl used to be on the psych ward, working every day.
Ooh.
This is how I put myself through college. This is why I don't be barring nobody. Like, on top of the fact that I grew up hood adjacent, because I have learned, yes, I have some trap in me, and I have done some hood activities in my life, but I grew up in a brick home, hood adjacent. Like, I can't front on that. Like, my family ain't gonna let me make it. We did some trap things, but you had to go over a block or two to get into the trap activities.
Right.
So after all of that work, 2018, I started working with the org that brought me to St. Louis, Color of Change, as a digital organizer. And that was before people thought it was cool to do all the online organizing, the text messaging, everything. They were really at the forefront of it and doing it specifically for Black people. So I learned a lot in that time of working with them. That transitioned, and somehow I became like a Black superhero in Dallas, like a political superhero on the low, because I started going hard at our local politicians and our state politicians. I think one thing that anybody who has met me or has seen me in action will say is, I don't really care, like, who it is.
You really don't care.
I'm going to say what I need to say. Like, what the people say, you speak truth to power.
Speak truth. They let us say that. Speak truth to power.
I speak truth to power on a regular and consistent basis, and that kind of started getting around. Next thing I knew, I was on the planning commission for the city, which is like the commission you end up on if you want to run for city council or county commissioner. I learned so many things about zoning and also how that impacts Black people. That's a whole nother dirty bag. But
We'll come back for it.
yes, because, honey, when you piss off the largest residential real estate developer in the city, you learn things very quickly. So I don't say on that. But, then I started working on, like, presidential campaigns as a distributed organizing director.
Yeah, so about that. Yeah.
I mean,
Come on in that burning building playing around.
Listen, I have bills and needs. And
Facts.
I am just here to tell you that if you hiring Black, listen, is this the camera single me out?
Yes.
Like, Black organizations, if you are hiring and you need somebody, I'm available. Make me an offer. I also contract, okay? Please help me break out of the...
Because there's that fine line, like people will. It's so funny in the movement where people will like shame folks for having jobs. It's like you in the city, but it's like y'all forget. I can say this about the movement: it destroyed a lot of lives, people's livelihoods.
Got messed up.
You don't have when people look you up, especially jobs research you before they hire you anyways, and they see that you're associated with anything having to do with bucking up against the system. It's going to make your chances of getting hired. Like they see you as a liability.
Absolutely.
So here's that fine line between fuck the system and we ain't working no jobs and okay, well you got a shut off notice unless you're living on your mom's couch and you got grown folk bills. How do we have that conversation? But like you was like Biden.
I was. And let me go ahead and be clear. I did help Robinette and Cam get into office. But I did not go searching for the job with the Biden campaign. So this is the thing that people need to understand. I was minding my business on a sofa and got a call. Minding my Black ass business on the sofa and got a call from the distributor or the organizing director for the Biden campaign. And he was like, several people have given me your name and your resume. We have 2 positions open. I wanted to know if you would be interested in either one of them. I ain't gonna look for that job. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I had just got back from Florida and was staying in Airbnb because it was peak pandemic time and I needed to quarantine myself before I went to my daddy's house. I was minding my business on the couch.
You was minding your business on the couch. You got a call
from
them people.
Got a call from them people. And when he said, we want you to work for the coordinated campaign, it just completely went over my head. I was like, oh, okay, which coordinated campaign? And he was like, the Biden-Harris ticket. And I was like, oh, that campaign. Oh, you mean the DNC?
Them people. You mean them people.
You mean them people. So, yeah, I mean, I worked for them. I sure did. Got my checks. They paid me on time, and my benefits was nice. Now, this is the thing that I will tell people when they do critique, because you get that critique. Like
hold on.
The progressive, woke, Black space, they will get on you for going to work in these quote-unquote progressive white orgs or these very powdered pilgrim heavy
Right.
organizations.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, unless you can show me who your funding sources are and they're not white, then I really don't want to hear a whole lot. Because 99.9% of nonprofits that are out here operating in this good world right now are being funded by some white person or white organization. And that's just fact.
Now, you know, ain't nobody trying to have that conversation.
If you got
Show me who pays your bills, and I'll show you what kind of conversation we should be having.
show me whose grants you're applying for. Let's talk about the endowments and the foundations that are supporting the grants that people are applying for. Now, hey, I ain't knocking the work that y'all do with the money.
However,
I'm just saying, don't talk about me and the organizations that I work for, because I go to work for orgs that have $1 million access. Because before I was at the Biden campaign, I was working for Tom Steyer. And that was really when I was pissing people off, because they was like, you working for a billionaire. He corrupt. Listen, shout out to Tom and Kat. How y'all doing, y'all? I miss y'all. I'm going to be in California soon. I'm going to have to come by the farm, okay?
but you know what's funny about them conversations and them woke conversations and corrupt and where the money comes from? What I learned within the movement before I like hopped the fuck out is that it becomes so much like corporate America.
It is.
It's like people operate within the same way in corporate where you gotta, it ain't what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely.
It'd be the same thing with us. Don't nobody, there's elitism. We talk about so many phobias, but then we leave the isms out, because if we address the isms,
The elitism is real.
the gatekeeping.
The gatekeeping, the elitism, the privilege, the lack of understanding the knowledge and recognition of privilege. I ain't gonna front to nobody. I'm a hella privileged.
Okay.
I'm aware. My brother reminded me several months ago that I earn in the top 16% of people in the United States. And I was like, boy, you lying. Then I went and did the math, and I was like, okay, maybe not. And I'm going to just shut up from now on. That's just the facts. And honestly, I don't make that much. So that also speaks to like wealth disparities here in the United States. So please don't be out here thinking I'm trillionaire.
But knowing when to sit and eat your food in these spaces. So that's why it got, after a while, it was like only certain people are getting access to certain things, because of, first of all, you have the language.
Yes.
So there's that, you know how to speak. You ain't gonna embarrass nobody. You're playing the game with the right people. That was one of the things I noticed, because I've been in corporate 17 years. I'm like, this shit is like corporate, and this is not okay.
You have to be
under
able to
the
play
guise of, I was like, I don't want to play a game when it comes to my own people, but here we are.
That's what they want. So then you have to be the token black, and you have to be the well-rounded token black. So this is what gets me across the board. And you know, for the Dallas folks, y'all will get it. I can play south of 30 and north of 30. That is what helps me in these spaces. All of my friends are like, Clarice has years and years of experience talking to white people, because of my upbringing and the way my parents raised us and the activities they had us in. Like, yes, we would be doing hella blackity black, we black y'all things, but they absolutely made sure we went to North Dallas so that we saw how other people operated.
You can be in the boardroom.
You got to be in the boardroom. My brothers went to private school. They went to the all-boys school here. So, which is a whole nother, like, so I had to learn how to navigate that world. When my brothers are going to school with Ross Perot the third, you gotta have to be,
it's just different. And if you can't, and if you're not able to, I mean, when you get, and you owe it to your people to share that. Like, some people ain't never gotten a room before, so that's where you kind of, you stand in the gap for those that don't have that access. That's always been my thing, is how can I teach people that I know? Because I've always been like the only black girl in corporate spaces, or I'm only one or two. So what they did was they pit us against each other, because we don't think there's enough room at the table for both of us, so there can only be one. So to see that in, like, you know, organizing is just very wild.
When we get off this mic, I'm going to tell you a fun story about St. Louis and how I don't think I'm ever going to be welcome back, even though.
Girl, listen, there are people whose lives were destroyed over the past years, and those are the ones that got discarded, that chose not to play the game, that lost a lot.
That's what it is.
There are people that I feel, and that's why one of the things this podcast, I was always like, even before this became a thing, I said, so much has happened over the past 7-8 years. I want to tell the stories of those that you will never hear about and that have been forgotten about, or didn't have access.
That's it.
Didn't have the following, didn't roll, or didn't understand the right language, and didn't understand intersectionality. They just, some hood motherfuckers that just didn't know. So because they didn't know, they were problematic, and there's so much to it. So much.
I have to code switch on a consistent and regular basis. I have to be able to go sit down in the trap and talk to my homies about the reality of what is going on politically, and break that ish down to them like we talking about breaking down bricks. I have to be able to explain, or I have learned to become proficient in explaining the government and politics and the reason why they need to go vote in ways that matter to them. And I also have become proficient in going back to the government and saying, hey, let me explain to you why your constituent who is living in this community and experiencing this disparity deserves your care and your kindness. It's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always pissing somebody off. I'm either not hood enough, or I'm too hood, or I have dreads. I am 6 feet tall. I weigh over 300 pounds. You gonna see me when I come in the room. So either I'm not polished and professional enough, or I'm too polished. I absolutely could be in a whole nother atmosphere when it comes to politics and the progressive space if I would play the game.
Play the game.
And I don't play the game because what we talked about in the beginning. I'm absolutely going to be out here talking to people about how they can get an abortion. I'm absolutely going to be out here still talking to people about what herbs they can take in holistic wellness. I'm absolutely about diaspora. I have a Back to Africa movement. I'm about land wealth creation for us.
Mm-hmm.
For us.
For us. You prioritize, and when you're playing the game, you can't really...
Can't do that. I'm just going to say, I could be on CNN commentating. I could be on MSNBC commentating. I have a very in-depth vocabulary that I could dig into. All the SAT words will come out if need be. I read a word a day. That is something I still commit to, waking up every day with a word a day from the dictionary.com, because I want to know. I need to learn. I be learning words to drop at people at work because you need to know. But yeah. I'm also going to have to continue to be true to who I am. And part of that is knowing that the government structure as we know it functions exactly how it's supposed to.
It does.
And that it is really going to take a revolution, and not the type that Kirk Franklin was singing about. But the type,
GP, are you with me?
Because GP is not. They not.
The GP is not with us.
Because that's the other side of this. The very woke progressive Black people that gatekeep in this space about who can do what and how, they also don't want to be real with people about the type of revolutionary work that it's going to take. The things that we saw transpire after George Floyd was murdered was because folks said, I ain't had enough. We burning this motherfucker down.
George Floyd was when everybody kind of got on board. I think this is what happened. Like with Mike Brown, people were still on the porch looking and saying, not this way, not that way. So 2014, it was not like this, y'all. Not like that. What's happening? We don't want to put our hands on it. We don't know what them niggas is out here doing.
Meanwhile, y'all had tanks rolling through the street of St. Louis.
We literally had tanks. So by the time George Floyd, at that point, the thing that irritated me after George Floyd is now all of a sudden everybody was trying to hop in. It's like, baby, we've been waiting on y'all. Where y'all been while folks been losing their lives, their livelihood, their minds? Like their mental health just destroyed. It's like now y'all hopping. So many people, and I was talking about this with Kiana. We talked about this before we recorded. It was like, folks don't know when you come into movements, whatever vices you had before, you can put them on hold for a while because there's this adrenaline with you doing something that's bigger than you and you stepping into your purpose and you being passionate and fighting. But ultimately, when those dark moments come from doing that work, which they're going to come, you're going to pull on something. And for a lot of people, some people went back to substance abuse. Some people used whatever it was. Some of us were fortunate enough to go to therapy, but that wasn't the journey for everybody. So knowing that this shit is not sexy. So me seeing folks kind of come in after George Floyd, I mean, at that point I all but stopped going to protest, but I'm like, y'all don't get it, do y'all?
It was the people
y'all don't know the price that you pay for even stepping foot out there and what's going to happen in your life afterward. Even on the lower level, even if you're not the face, like everybody gets impacted.
And then people don't want to talk about the type of organizing that needs to happen on the back end. I always joke and tell folks, I'm not a Martin or a Malcolm. I'm absolutely a Ralph Abernathy. Because Ralph was back at the office helping people get out of jail. And
that's where the work, if everybody's out there, ain't nobody in the back, you can't do everything.
And they be like, Clarice, you ain't coming. Listen, I'm not coming because when the ish goes down, I have done it.
Who you going to call?
I have pulled up to downtown Dallas to pick my friends up who were down here protesting when they started dropping gas and things. We have planned out escape routes. I know where to come get them. I have gone to bail my friends out of jail because they've been picked up for this or that or the third.
Right.
I am Ralph, okay? I'm going to be at the house. I'm going to have the lawyer on speed dial, and I'm going to be ready to come swoop in and get you from wherever you are. But if we all get arrested,
there's literally no who you can't call. You're gonna be calling white folks.
I'm calling white folks.
Y'all gonna be calling them white folks that
The
y'all
same
gonna, that's
white
gonna
folks.
turn on y'all.
The same white folks that y'all mad at me for taking their money.
Them the ones that
I'm going to just let you know the person who helped me get the Ghana the most is a white woman, and I love her.
open your pocketbooks.
She is my ally, my co-conspirator, my sister.
We need co-conspirators. Open you, and you do that with your wallet. That's just what it's gonna be. And nobody wants to really have those conversations. That there's layers to how this shit works. There's balance, and it's just. But I think it's people being so new to this, because I was definitely a novice and knowing how all the different ways work and not being too extreme in one way where you lose sight of what's needed on this end as well.
Because you have to see the full picture. And so much of what we don't understand about how white people organize, and I will say conservative white people organize, is they got the money.
They have it.
They have the plans in place. You saw what they pulled off at the Capitol January 6th.
Baby, they thought
the insurrection.
They was on calls, Zooms.
They didn't
fishing trips.
They didn't have any fear about it. They were prepared to handle any legal repercussions that came from them. And somebody lost their life. Somebody was ready to lay their life down on the line. I have conversations with my progressive friends all the time, and we can be real and say, hey, I don't know if I'm ready for the revolution because I am not ready to give up my life.
And it's a real conversation. And every time you step out, that's a very real. You don't know how it's gonna go.
You don't know. If
you don't really know what you walking into.
You're gonna get hit in the head. If you're gonna get put in the back of a police car and taken into an alley somewhere where you just disappeared.
Right.
That just made me think of dating law enforcement and how these cops be trying to date me, and I'll be like, ooh. You should have told me you was a law enforcement official before we got on this date, because I can't be out here with you because you could disappear me.
Listen, poof,
be gone. Yeah, no, y'all ain't finna disappear me. No. I know. I'm sorry. That's my own personal disclaimer.
It's the Punnani and the politics for me.
The Punnani politics. Listen,
it's the Punnani and the politics.
That's
for
what
me.
you gonna have to title this one. The Punnani.
I literally just said that's the title.
Punnani and the politics, because that's what I'm about. So, like,
yeah,
I'm also talking about Punnani rights in these political spaces. I scare white people sometimes, I'm sure, because I will come in a space and start to express like my holistic wellness, hippy dippy. Let me go align my chakras. I'm bringing in sage. I set up an altar in the office that we had in St. Louis when we were doing the work to Baba McCullough. Yes, I pulled out my crystals and candles and set up a whole altar and marked his name off and called on the ancestor power and was ready. But the only reason I got away with it was because it was a black org.
Right.
That even though they weren't all rocking with it, they understood it, because, we're still in the South, we're still in the Midwest, people still love Jesus. So that's a whole nother, the way they use the black church to politics of the black church and the Punnani. Because, the black church will tell you in a heartbeat, my sister, God would not want you to have an abortion. We have access and help for you. And then they will connect you to a white organization that's going to put your black baby in the hands of a white family. Or they will connect you with a government organization. So now the government is your baby's daddy and in your business. All up and through. All up in it. So, you have to talk about it. The politics that we are dealing with right now are going to cause us to have to be very revolutionary in the way that we act. I know that gardening is a revolutionary act because that means I have access to food and medicine that I don't have to depend on the state, the city, the government to supply for me. That is a radical act.
It's a radical act.
They don't want us to be radical. They don't want us to break out. But that is what our ancestors knew. That is why my grandmother tore up her entire backyard and had a garden when she moved up here from the country. That's why I still see so many older black people with gardens in their backyard. They may not be able to tend to them like they used to, but they will grow a whole backyard of collards because they going to make sure they got food. They're going to have different things. There's stuff that I realized my granny was doing when I was a kid that I didn't understand had a spiritual or a health benefit. But now learning and looking back, I'm like, oh, Granny been in her on that goodness. Oh, she knew what she
Granny, grandmas be knowing. Grandmas be knowing.
Granny was out here clearing the air. her. She was getting rid of the spirits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was making tinctures and salves, and that's why stuff didn't have a label. We didn't have no Robitussin. We just had Tussin. We just had a jar that was on the counter with no label, and that's what you go get if you got a cough. My other auntie just had like jars. If you cut yourself, you wasn't getting Neosporin, go get that jar. It might have been pig fat. I don't know what was in it,
But
I
it
know
did what it needed to do.
it did it, okay? And they instilled that in me. I started gardening at 3.
See, protect Black grandmas.
Protect them, please. Please protect them and teach the generations. Like, I love taking kids to gardens or giving them seeds. They mamas and daddies be mad at me, but I will give a kid some seeds in a heartbeat. Go on and plant, baby. Give you some dirt. And then the parents be looking at me like, now, where in this apartment did you think she was going to grow this sunflower? I don't know, but you're going to grow
You're going to
sunflower.
figure it out.
Figure it out, because she needs to know how these things work. He needs to know how this works. They need to understand it, because they are the ones who are going to be more impacted than we are.
Right.
They're the ones that are going to be living in the post-apocalyptic world where they got to go. Ain't going to be no Walgreens. Or if there is a Walgreens, you're going to have to be so ridiculously wealthy to access it. So this is the other thing that I will say that I see happening. Talking about politics and Punnani, people will still be able to get access to abortions and all types of womb-related health care. It's just going to be privatized.
Right.
So if you don't have the money, you ain't gonna be able to get it. If you can't afford to get like a special card, you know, folks are already struggling to get insurance and they hate Obamacare. You know, the people been trying to get rid of that since he got it. And the fact they even call it Obamacare, and it's really just the Affordable Care Act. But we're moving towards that, where if you don't have the means and the money to be able to afford these things, you're not gonna get it. The WIC clinics, the government clinics, all of these things that they're offering to support us currently, they're gonna do away with them. And money, gas is getting higher. Food is getting higher.
Baby, if I come over, I'm spending the night.
I don't go too many places. I just listen.
I like it within a 5-mile radius at this point.
I drive to the park to do my daily walk, and then I drive home. I don't even go to the grocery store. I got Whole Foods delivering food in the hood.
It's so ridiculous.
Because I'm not driving all the way to North Dallas to go get no groceries. No. And the only time I leave to go get groceries is when I come over here for my Sprouts and my TJs. But no, it's all of these things.
Right.
They don't want you to understand that with time and effort, I can take a $2 bag of seeds and turn it into $200 worth of food for my family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're going to get, let's say you get tomatoes, because that's what I got a bunch of tomatoes growing right now. Let's say you get some tomato seeds. It's probably going to be 20 or 30 tomato seeds in there.
Yeah.
Each one, man, get 80% germination. So you probably get like 20. If it's 30, you'll get 20 plants, basically. That 20 plants, do you know how many tomatoes you can get off of 20 plants? You really only need 1, maybe 2 to give you enough tomatoes for a family.
Right.
That's cutting the grocery bill down. Now, granted, you have to deal with things like climate and climate change, which is a whole nother thing, because they be out here messing with the weather and the sky, and can't nobody convince me that they not. Mm-hmm. But it's worth the gamble. What does it hurt to go out and try and get some basic herbs like mint and oregano and sage that can be used for culinary purposes, but can also be used to mix up a mean cough syrup if you're sick. That can also be dipped. Oregano will save your pum-pum, ladies.
She's dropping game.
She's
dropping game.
Listen, if you have been to the clinic with a little itch, scratch for your Punnani, little oregano oil will do wonders down there.
It's too hot to be out here itching. Y'all better take this game.
I'm just here to tell you. A little oregano oil.
Little tingly ting, y'all. Your sneaky link got you
sneaky link.
Itchy link.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't listen to anything else I say today, just please listen to this. Quit putting soap, perfumed soap, on your Punnani and your penis. Fellas, don't put no Irish Spring on your DAC before you come over and try and swing that in somebody Punnani. Because when you bring me the Irish Spring peen, now you're throwing off the acidic balance that is my vagina on top of your alkaline sperm. I know some of y'all didn't go to science class, so we're going to say positive and negative. This is how that works, okay? You putting your negative in my positive already. Then you want to throw Irish Spring on it. So now your negative is extra negative over my positive. Next thing I know, I'm all yeasty and BV out here in these streets. Sis out here smelling like a chicken noodle soup can in the summertime because you didn't want to
Out
clean.
here baking bread.
Baking bread all yeasty all summer. It's too hot for that.
Got that ooey gooey.
Listen, Uchi Wally Wally is not Uchi Bang Banging when y'all not doing these things. And ladies, yes, there are ways to do but summer's eve is not it. It's not. So these are different things. And the politics behind that is these manufacturers that have big lobbyists that go and get the government to regulate that these products are safe for our bodies. It's just, they push that. Why would they want you to know that there is a plant that you can grow in your backyard that could help you reset your bones and deal with any scrapes, cuts, bruises, and if you drink it as a tea, it will also help heal your internal organs? Why would they want you to know that? When they want you to go spend $5,000 at the urgent care to reset a finger because your child popped a bone? They don't want you to know about the oregano oil and the powers and the goodness that it'll do for your Punnani. They don't want you to know about that. They don't want you to know about how sage and a little honey and a little lemon makes cough syrup and what have you. All of that.
Take notes, kids.
I'm also here to tell you that our Latina and Latino brothers and sisters and our indigenous brothers and sisters, they abuelas and abuelos still know about all these things and are teaching them. So, hey, shout out to Fiesta if you got a Fiesta in your town because they carry all the herbs you could ever think of needing.
It's down the street. I ain't been in there yet.
You got to go into Fiesta because they be having the yerba santa. They be having all the mint. You know, you got to learn Spanish to know what you're going in there to get.
See, girl, look, don't go somewhere.
Hey, you in Texas now. Come on.
I know. I have to.
Hola, come on.
I knew enough to get around Cuba. But theirs is a totally different Spanish. I had the little 10 words I needed to get to where I needed to go.
Donde el baño is all I need to know, and I'll be all right. I know my foods. But, yes, like those things, they don't want you to know that there are ways to treat ailments, and I'm going to use the words ease discomfort and rebalance because I'm not a doctor. I'm not out here giving you medical advice. I am merely giving suggestions and, for information purposes only am I sharing this. But if I am Pfizer or GlaxoSmithKline, they are spending millions of dollars on lobbying a year to get government, congressmen and senators and whomever to agree to continue to push these products or ban other products. Do you know that's why marijuana got banned back in the Gap? No. The reason that marijuana became deemed illegal in the United States of America was because it is a paint company that was making paper at the time, and I believe it's in the 20s or the 30s, hemp started to become a very popular alternative. And this company got all their money together and went and paid the politicians to ban marijuana and make hemp products illegal because they were about to lose their market share.
The more you know.
So it was all over some paper that we lost our paper.
Ain't it?
That's the
Look,
truth.
she out here trying to put y'all on. And we need that though. It's just so much. It's so much happening. But obviously what we learning here is there's ways to heal yourself. You need to understand why getting the bag by any means necessary sometimes require things that are not popular to the absolute woke black. And that, you know what I'm saying? You can take care of yourself and you need to, broaden your horizons and not compromise your values and still speak the way you need to. You don't have to play the game.
No.
You can just walk in your purpose and let that be whatever it's meant to be. And stay true to yourself. So I got to thank the good sis for coming on today. But you got to tell everybody how to find you.
Oh, so listen, yes. Let me see if I can get them all together.
Get it together.
Facebook, Instagram, as well as the Tickety Talk. Holler at me. I go live at 5 every day on TikTok. You can find me at Urban Healing. Okay, that is HERBUN Healing. You can also go to my website to purchase any of my fine products, to help you with your Punnani issues. We dealing with all that down there. We got yoni steams, we got teas. Also got a Motherland Healing tea that is bomb.com that is going to help you boost your immune system. It's going to help you keep yourself, stay ready because this next wave of COVID is coming.
Yeah.
Get ready. All right. So you can go to urbanhealing.com. Again, that is HERBUN healing.com to get all of your products. And, you know, I'm also out here in these streets. Catch me in Ghana.
No, for real. Catch her all up and through.
I'll be in these streets.
She be out there in them streets.
I'm gone.
Thriving.
Thriving. Listen, come the end of June.
Yes, I'm about to go. So obviously,
she coming with me, and we bringing the baby too.
Yes, we have to.
The baby gonna have us all types of free meals. I'm ready. Like
she is the free meal kid. I'm not even gonna lie about the privilege of having her. I did lots of things are free.
Listen, I'm already.
They love her here in Texas.
They are gonna love. They gonna eat her up like gumdrops.
I said y'all just forgot I exist, but you know what? It's cool. It's fine.
We love you too.
This is what I wanted, but
we love
okay,
Junior
little girl,
Cookie too.
this is your world. So she done dropped $1 million worth of game here. I hope you took notes. I pray to God that you hear what she's saying. Take that into account for your body, for your mind, politics, everything going on around you, what's to come, and prepare yourselves. And like she said, we are still in a pandemic. We're applicable.
Whole Punnani.
We're here. We're in a whole purple rain.
Yes.
We're applicable. Wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distance, and when you get a free moment, please remember to clean out your dirty bag. Till next time.
Well, darling, there's only one God.